Hi, James Millar here from the Tintype studio. Today I'm going to show you my latest creation, which is I've dubbed the Shoebox Lightroom. As the name implies, this is a shoebox, well, a kind of filing box actually, which I've converted to make a tiny little darkroom. And so let's have a look inside. This is built around my latest acquisition, an Ensign Midget camera with a tiny little back, tiny little tiny camera. And the idea is I thought I could try and make tintypes with this little tiny camera using these tiny little tin plates. So that's the project for today. So I've spent a few days building this contraption. Let me take you through it. In the top here, I've cut a window out here, and behind it I have placed ruby lith film, which I'm hoping is going to be light tight. In the front I've fixed some old goggles with a shed load of masking tape. There's a lot of masking tape's got involved in this project, so I can view into the box. On the side I've cut out 2 holes. I've used some theatre blackout cloth so I can put my hands in there and hopefully keep out the light. And then inside, you'll see inside, I have my teeny tiny silver box. I've got a dev tray fixer, which I'll be taking out, a little tiny bottle to wash off the dev, and a teeny tiny little jug to pour the developer onto the plate. So that's about it. I'm going to test it now and see what happens. I'm in a tiny caravan using a tiny camera, using a tiny dark box. So today's all about tiny things. So yeah, we'll see. Things first, I need to figure out whether or not this is actually light tight. It's a fairly bright space, this, and I'll probably be using this as the kind of dark room when I take the picture of this tiny caravan. So it's looking down in here now. Yeah, I can't see any light bleeds in there at the moment. So I can't see any light bleeds. I'll say it again, so you're probably mumbling away. I can't see any light bleeds in there, so that's good news. I've got decent visibility of what I need to see. Put my arms in. Obviously I'll be wearing gloves shortly. This is just a wee test. Put my arms in, like thus. And yeah, I can see a tiny... Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good, that all looks good. The sleeves have worked. I made the sleeves using theatre blackout cloth, 2 lengths, which I've joined down here with some fabric glue, and then more gaffer tape inside to tape them into the box, which seems to be working if it's a bit Heath Robinson. Anyway, so yeah, that's all good. Right, so I'm happy with that. Put that over there. So next I have chemistry, all important gloves. I have some Lee's Landscape, that's the brand of collodion I'm going to use today from Wet Plate Supplies. Kevin in Ramsey, who's been absolutely genius and actually managed to cut me some tiny plates with this tiny little slot in the back here. So that's that. So Lee's Landscape collodion. Going to use I've made some developer last night. That's it. So silver nitrate, which has been filtered to within an inch of its life and sun, so that should be okay. So that's that. Next, right, gloves now on. I'm going to make up some chemistry. First of all, I'm going to make up the little tiny fixer because it takes a little while to dissolve. deionised water, pop that in there. So that's that. I'm going to let that dissolve over there. It's like a cookery program. Jamie Oliver does Tintype. Right, next is the careful bit. So I've got the gloves on. Silver nitrate. So, oh, I love the smell of silver nitrate in the morning. Lovely. Right. Okay, so put a lid on that. Because that's the nasty stuff which stains your clothes and your fingers for weeks on end. So that's that. So that's the silver nitrate, and the fixer is now ready. So I'm going to now try and frame up the picture with this, with the Ensign Midget. So the mechanism on this is the back comes off. There's a little clip here. That comes off here, and that's that's where the plate will sit. And I've just put a dollop of blue tack on there to keep the plate in place. And then in the dark box, I will sensitise the plate, pop it in there, pop the back on, flip it up, and then I'm going to frame it on here. So there's no tripod mount or anything, so I'm just going to pop it on this plate here. So I'm just going to set this up here, I think. Just got a really dinky viewfinder thing here, which will give me a rough idea of framing. And it's a fixed focal length thing. I think it's probably about f8, perhaps. It's got two settings on the aperture, small and large. So we'll go with large. I'm going to guess about f8, I think, probably f5.6 perhaps. And it has though got a very useful bulb setting. So that'll open the shutter. And I'll take a light read. I'll make a light meter reading at some point. I'm just going to frame it up. That appears to be filling the frame. So that's the camera setup. That's going back in the Caravan with me now, and yeah, really ready to make a plate. So I've got my silver lid off, camera, lid, and the back plate. So I've got my little tiny Tintype tin plate here. I've got my Lee's collodion here. I've got a little, I'm just going to get that out of the way. I've got a little dev tray here. And what I'm going to do now is I've got my collodion. Now I've never flowed a plate this size before, so I'm just going to move that out very slightly. Listen carefully. Silver in there. Prop that up. Get rid of these arms out of the way. So, right, this is a careful operation. So, I've taken a corner off. I'm going to try and minimise the dust on this because this often knackers things up. So, I'm just going to peel up. Normally, when you're flowing a plate, you'll flow it like a waiter. You pour a puddle into the centre, but I think it's going to be too delicate. So, I'm going to peel this off, and I'm going to clip this little clip. Just going to take a little edge off here slightly, ready to go. And I'm going to clip this tiny thing on here, right on the edge. So what I'm also used is the dipper. So, ready to go. Here goes. Calm your nerves. Okay, film off. Okay, right. Okay, seems to be flowing quite nicely. Can leave that there, just get rid of the excess. So, got one little dot in the middle there, which is a bit annoying, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to wait for it to start to set. We can do the test with the fingernail. It's nearly set already actually, a warm day. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right. Yeah, that's going in the silver bath now. Let's try and down over the top like that. I'm just going to put a book over the top just to try and keep the light out here a little bit. Okay, good. Okay, so camera, put that over here, out of the way. A second, a minute. Okay, taking the lid off the silver box. You can't actually see the silver box. Okay, I can see it. Okay, the dipper's there. Okay, that's looking creamy and nice. Taking the clip off, letting it drain off a bit. Moving the plate holder into position. Okay, so emulsion side up. That's going in now. I'm going to press that in place. Hopefully the reach will hold. Test. Okay, that's in place. Right. So next I need to put the back on. Very, very carefully. Clipping it on the back. So that's clipped in, locking it down. Okay, right, so silver lid back on. Right. Okay, right. So, hopefully. So I'm using a little app called Pocket Light Meter. I've set it to ISO 0.5. with exposure compensation down 3 stops, which is wet plate. So F wise, I'm going to be, I think we said it probably about, we're guessing about F5, 6.3 we're going to go for. So for meter the scene. It's giving me a 5-second exposure here. So we'll stick with that. So 5 seconds, F6.3, ISO 0.8, 2 stops under, which would make it F0.2. So, it's going to check the framing. I keep it super still. Super still. I'm going to go for 5 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's check it out. Okay. Right, this is incredibly tricky. Right, so right, I'm going to get my little dev here. Now to the right hand side. Okay, I'm shaking like a leaf. Let's give it a go. Okay, so go with the 15 seconds. 1, 2, 15, washing off. Right, hopefully that's enough wash. Okay, so
haha, can see Yvonne. There she is. there we have it. First tiny type.